Hello you guys, and welcome back to my channel. It is Julie Tice here, bringing you some more tips on how you can grow your business. So before we get into the video, please hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. It really does help my channel grow. And if you have a business question of your own, you can find in the description box a place where you can book your first 20-minute coaching call with myself. So getting into this video, you guys, you know this is the spot where we are combining business strategy with psychology mastery. And today I'm going to be breaking down the psychology behind Kylie Jenner and Kylie Jenner Cosmetics. Oh yes, we're gonna get into it. So the main reason why we're breaking down Kylie Jenner and Kylie Jenner Cosmetics is because she was the pioneer for pretty much a lot of what I teach my clients to do, which is how to capitalize on social media to grow your brand. And specifically for her, she grew a billion-dollar brand mainly off social media. She didn't run ads on TV. She didn't have billboards at first. She started off building her cosmetic industry on her Instagram. And there is something to be learned from this. And before we get into this, some of you guys might be saying, oh, well, you know, she was a Kardashian. She came from that type of success. Yeah, she did. Duh. We have to be able to look at that. And I'm not saying that didn't help at all. Yes, you know, she had the name brand and she already had the audience, which is, I think, a huge thing we have to talk about. And at the same time, success leaves clues. We can all take these big corporations and say, well, I'm not going to become that because they had this, they had that, they had something else that I didn't have. This channel is all about looking at what you can learn from this. There is something to be learned in every single influencer, business owner that builds a brand. And that is what we are going to focus on. Yes, your parents might not be the Kardashians or the Jenners. Like, that's probably very likely that they're not, but there's still so much to learn about this case study because it is pretty fascinating. So moving forward, you guys, all of these thoughts and opinions are my own. They are opinions, they are theories. I'm going to break down what I believe was the consumer psychology, the buyer psychology of why Kylie Jenner was able to scale to a billion-dollar brand, and of course break down what you can learn from it. So the first thing I want to get into is the paradox of choice, which is what she rolled out. We're going to kind of go back to the beginning. If you guys remember her brand in the beginning, she launched 3 lipsticks. 3, that's it. There wasn't eyeliners, there wasn't eyeshadow, there wasn't any of that. She had 3 lipsticks, not 20, not 10, 3. So there's this interesting phenomenon called the paradox of choice. And in this, there was a study done where they were at a grocery store and they took samples of jam. In this, they had one table where they laid out 6 jam samples. And in the other one, they had where they laid out 24 jam samples. And so some of you, when you might be starting your business, you might think that you have to have the whole shebang before you move forward, right? And so they have both of the things, 6 versus 24. They actually found that people were more likely to buy when there was only 6 choices, because having too many choices can overwhelm us. And what did Kylie Jenner do at first? She had only 3 lipsticks. So the benefit of this, you guys, is if you are just starting out in your business, don't feel like you have to lay it all out and have everything right away. You just need to start with one product. And even then, it will be more beneficial as well. The beginning of your business can be the beneficial start for you to have. Obviously, Kylie has expanded and she's grown, but every single time she's done that, people have been able to really singly look at her cosmetics. Jeffree Star is another example of this. I've already did a video about him and Shane Dawson, so if you want to, make sure you go check that out. Super interesting. But these smaller brands are starting out with just a few choices. Again, going into the paradox of choice. When people have less choices, they're actually more likely to buy because you're not overwhelming them. I teach my clients a lot about this when they're on a sales page and they're setting up different pricing options. You might have early bird pricing, you might have a payment plan pricing. What I tell them is don't lay out 500 different payment plans. Have one. For my photographers, you know, it can be like, well, you can have 20 different packages. And in this one, I can take out this, I can take out that. Start with 3. 3 is a great number to have. If you're going into payment plans, I usually do the paid in full 1 payment plan. Anything other than that, it really overwhelms your customer. Okay, so now we're gonna get into some, I think, more interesting things about this. This is probably gonna be a little bit more controversial. Again, there are my theories, there are my opinions of this. There's one theory called activate affinity. And this theory states that we naturally like someone of similarity. And if you looked at when Kylie Jenner first started, she was, you know, kind of just like me. She obviously wasn't, but she was a teenage girl. She already built up her social media where people could know, like, and trust her. They had already been following her, and she was a teenage girl at the time, you know, or she was a young woman at the time. And her audience were also teenage girls. They were young girls, and they really saw her as someone that they could latch onto, that they could like, and that they could also be like. The most important part to know here is that she was the brand. If you look at things like CoverGirl, they might bring in models, but there isn't just one single CoverGirl. She really, I believe, capitalized on all of this because she was the brand. What can you learn from this? If you are a business owner, don't be afraid to be your brand. Don't be afraid to slap your face on things. Don't be afraid for people to get to know, like, and trust you as they did with Kylie Jenner, because this really led to her success. People want to buy from an actual human. They don't want to buy from a robot. They don't want to buy from those plain ass quotes you guys put on that are just, you know, circulating, everyone's done them. They don't want to buy from a cover photo that just has your logo on it. Put yourself in your brand. Put your face in your brand. People want to buy from an actual human. And Kylie Jenner did this so beautifully, I guess you could say, because she was her brand before she sold anything. And I think this is another really important thing, is she got people to like her. They were on board with her before she sold something. And now whenever she sells something, it sells out. We have to be able to look at these clues to be able to understand how we can then apply it in our business. So moving forward though, another big one that I really want to talk about is what I call an ugly duckling theory. That is not a psychological term. That is my breakdown of how I think that this all laid out. So what I want to kind of talk about is Kylie Jenner really capitalized on other people's insecurities. What I mean by this is when she first launched these lipsticks, if you guys remember, she said when people started talking about her lips, she was, you know, said, oh, I've always been really insecure about my lips. They were small. And she lied. So, I mean, this is, to me, this was a form of deceptive marketing, because she did say that her lips are so big and plump now because she overlined her lips. And so what's in her lip kits? It was a lip liner, so you could overline your lips, and then the liquid lipstick that she had. And in this, it really preys on, first of all, anyone's insecurity that they might have for their looks, because again, Kylie Jenner kind of met them where they were at. She was also insecure about her lips, and she sold this magic solution, this solution to people's insecurities. And it doesn't necessarily have to be about your lips. It could be about how they look. Who is Kylie Jenner's audience? It's a whole lot of teenage girls. What are teenage girls? They're insecure. It's an easier audience to sell based on insecurities, and so are women. Women have, I won't say more insecurities, but women buy more statistically, and of course they buy more products in beauty. And we've also been pushing our head that there's always a solution for our problem that we didn't even know maybe existed. Maybe no one had a problem with their faces, but a lot of makeup companies do this, a lot of skincare companies do this, and this especially is a huge one in the diet industry. Of course, you know, they'll show the, oh, I was super overweight, and then moving into, and now I'm this, now I'm super thin. So to me, this is like Kylie Jenner picked the diet industry and then put it on steroids. Teenage girls who are insecure about how they looked, and she did sell it in the beginning as the solution. She did talk about, like, all of a sudden her lips are so much bigger, and she's like, I just overline my lips. That's all I do. And so I can see how these teenage girls are really looking at it. They already, you know, like and trust her. They already like her brand. They're already following her. I mean, yeah, she had millions of followers before she ever launched something. But they're also seeing in this, on a subconscious level, she's just like me. She's just like me. And that this ugly duckling, I'm not saying she was ugly before. That's the best term I can come up with. This ugly duckling before was really transformed, again, by her solution, which was her makeup line, transformed to being so beautiful. No mention of plastic surgery, no mention of lip fillers. But again, it was this solution into that. You see this in the diet industry. You see people who, you know, it might have not all been the protein shake or the special diet or whatever it is. You never know, someone else might have gotten liposuction, whatever it is. They'll also show like skinny models, and it's like, well, were you just genetically like that? And now all of a sudden, so again, going into marketing. But how can we apply this to our business then if we don't want to use deception marketing? Well, I would encourage you then, again, after you make yourself and establish yourself as a brand, start to look at how you can relate to your audience, meet them where they're at so they can really pick up on that, activate affinity, where they will buy from you if they feel like they are also like you. So I do think it's okay to speak about your insecurities. I do think it's okay to talk about how whatever your product is helped lead you into a solution. Obviously, I think if you got lip injections, you should talk and say that it was your lip injections and not your lip liners. And I use this in my business, really talking about how when I first started, I didn't have clients. When I first started, I didn't have support. I didn't know how to scale. I didn't know how to grow a business. These are all true. And I was able to obviously learn that through systems that I now teach. I was able to get clients with systems I now teach. So I do have clients in the fitness industry, and they do have success with some of the stuff they use. So I'm not saying that this is all bad. I'm saying just don't be deceptive about it. Obviously, like, it's illegal. You could get in trouble for that. But we can find ways of increasing trust and certainty from our audience into us by just talking about the real stuff. So I think in this, don't feel like you have to show up completely perfect in your audience. Don't feel like you can't ever talk about the real stuff in your life. Obviously, I think there's a big difference between airing your dirty laundry, talking about a fight you and your boyfriend just had or whatever it is, versus being authentic and real and showing the real stuff. I always say, you know, for like my coaches and consultants, people that really speak to those deeper problems, I really teach them, you know, you want to be able to teach a lesson inside of your pain. It's okay to talk about the lesson, but also continue to show up as a leader. But that is something where it's going to make your audience bond with you. If you just show up every single day and you're just perfect and shiny, it's really hard for someone to relate to you. Again, Kylie Jenner showed up, and you know, she does show the really glamorous life. I think she does this less and less now. She's already a big business, but I definitely think in the beginning, teenage girls saw themselves wanting to be like her, but she also had this transformation. And if you say it's in your makeup line, it makes it really difficult not to want to buy what you are selling, especially if you have that insecurity. So I don't teach to prey on people's insecurities and sell, but I do think you can show your vulnerable side and connect with that person. You do want to connect on a deeper level. People buy with their feelings, and people will especially buy that solution to the feelings of pain. Moving on, I will say that there is power in your followers. I don't want you to get discouraged because yes, Kylie Jenner has 22 million followers. But at the same time, your goal might not be to have $1 billion brand right now, right? Like, it's going to happen, but maybe your goal right now is just to leave your 9-to-5. Maybe your goal right now is just to hit your first $5,000 in business or your first $10,000 a month in business. So start with where you're at, but know that it's important to build that audience. For people to be able to buy from you, it's going to be important that they see you and they see your products, they can hear you. It doesn't matter if you have the most important product in the world, something that's going to change someone's life, a service that's going to change their life. If you are stuck at home and no one has seen it besides your family on Facebook, that is not going to help you grow. There is power in social media marketing because it's free. It's free. Yes, you can run ads and everything like that, but Kylie Jenner didn't start by it. doing ads. She literally started by just putting it on her Snap story, putting it on her Instagram. But if you have 0 people, it's going to be really hard to sell to them. Only about 7 to 10% of your audience will ever buy from you. So it is a numbers game in some way, but again, you only need like 100 loyal followers. You only need, some of you just need that first person to buy from you. That comes from just having one follower, one dedicated follower. So what I'm saying is nurture your audience. Tell people what you're selling. They're not going to know they can buy from you if they don't know that you're selling something, if they've never heard about your product. And again, know your audience. I do think that most of Kylie Jenner's audience were young girls, young teenage girls. And that makes sense then. She sold on Instagram primarily, and her audience is going to be on Instagram. If you have an older audience though, I would still encourage using social media. Almost all of my clients, I tell them to get on social media, grow it, and sell it. You guys, the current amount of people using social media right now is 2.65 billion people. There's 2.65 billion people, and that is not all young people. So if 2.65 billion people, it is very likely that your ideal client is among these people. So what I'll say more so about growing your audience, it's not about knowing where your audience is at. A lot of them probably are on social media, but it's also going to be, you want to grow your audience with potential ideal clients. Like I would guarantee Kylie Jenner has way more girls following her, which makes sense, than males. So you want to really look at who your audience is and who, if you're filling it with people that could be your potential ideal client. Again, there's power in social media marketing. There's so many people online using it. And again, it's free. I think it would be so silly for us not to consider and to use social media marketing moving forward. So Kylie Jenner also uses something which I believe small companies have an advantage of using. Again, I kind of touched on this in my Jeffree Star and Shane Dawson video, but she does use scarcity marketing. You know, she can only put out a certain amount of products. Because she has such a big audience, people usually rush to buy it. I remember when she first put out those 3 lipsticks, there was only so many of them available and they were sold out immediately. And I remember people talking online and they were setting their alarm clocks to get it, and they were gonna be there right when the launch opened up. So when people use scarcity marketing, it really makes people rush to get it. This is a very primal instinct we have on being worried that there's not going to be enough, being worried that there won't be enough resources to go around. It's primal. So in this, Kylie Jenner capitalizes on this, whether she knows she does it or not. It's just something that smaller brands can capitalize on, because most of us, if you're watching this in your smaller brand, you can only provide a certain amount of time. When I offer my one-on-one coaching, I can only offer it to a certain number of people. I can't have 50 one-on-one clients. I would lose my mind. In this, capitalize on where you're at. If you can only produce so many, tell people you can only produce so many. This is going to drive people's need and want to buy it right now. This is how you're able to drive the marketplace so that they buy when you want them to buy instead of just kind of waiting for them to buy. So kind of wrapping this video up, you guys, let's go over some of the main concepts. Number 1, yeah, she had the following. So what can we do? Start growing that following. Start nurturing your audience. Number 2, activating affinity. She made herself that brand. She made herself someone relatable to. And when you're relatable, your audience grows to know, like, and trust you. And we all want to buy from companies and brands we know, like, and trust. Also, she capitalized on solving a problem. For her audience, it was an insecurity problem. But again, if you are an entrepreneur, all of your products should solve a problem. And I think it goes to show it doesn't always have to be this big, huge problem. People will always buy with their feelings. When you can touch in on those feelings of wanting that glamour, wanting to be beautiful. That is a deep driven feeling, especially for women, wanting to fix something externally so we feel better internally. I'm not saying is a good thing and maybe we shouldn't go to therapy, but it's just a thing. Also, using the just like me scenario, start to talk to your audience in a way where they can feel like you were just like them. Talk about where you were at in the beginning before you talk about how amazing and glamorous your life is right now. Another one, again, that we talked about is that paradox of choice. Stand strong in being a smaller business and only having a certain amount of options. If you feel like more is going to bring you more clients, it's not. Less is more in this situation. Remember that jam study. People bought when they had less options. You don't want to overwhelm your audience and you don't want to confuse them. Again, another way you can capitalize on being a smaller business is to apply scarcity marketing. If you only have a certain amount of spots of clients you can take on, tell people it. If you only have a certain amount of products that you can put out there to the industry, tell people about it. Meet your business needs where it's at, and it's going to drive that scarcity mindset in your clients, that very primal need to get a resource before it runs out, so that your business can then grow so that you can help more people. That is the wrap up of this video. I want to hear in the comments from you guys though. What other company do you want to see the psychological breakdown of? What company are you interested in their success? What are your thoughts on this video? And again, if you like this video, please hit the subscribe button. It really does help. If you're interested in other videos that were mentioned in this video, I will link them in the description box. Again, if you have a business question of your own, you can apply for a free 20-minute coaching call with me. If you want more videos and trainings, I encourage you to go on over to Intentional CEO. That is my online group for business owners. I am always doing free trainings in there. It's also a place for you to connect with other business owners, ask your questions, get them answered. I'm in there always going in and answering questions. So I encourage you to check that out. Again, let me know what other videos do you guys want to see that I want to cater to you guys, not just what I want to do. And I'm here to help you guys. So that is all I have for you guys. And no, this is just the beginning.